All right, awesome. We're here with Josue Garcia. He's joining us today, and we're super grateful. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your day. I know you're busy. Appreciate you taking the time. Let's just jump right into it. Josue, tell me about a little bit about your background and a little bit about what got you into real estate and things like that.
First of all, thanks for the invite. So basically what got me into real estate, I have two sisters that were lenders. They're still lenders, but back then when I was growing up, I was just seeing their schedule. They were still, able to take care of their kids. And most importantly, they were, making good money to take care of their kids and their family. And then I just started looking more into it. And then I just liked, the lifestyle and then being able to help people get into homes. And more importantly, with Latinos, it's harder for them to learn how to get a home just because of the language and stuff like that. So I wanted to be that extra help, be that extra realtor that can help a family in need.
For sure. That's great.
It's been going good. I've been getting good reviews, and I feel like I've been doing my job correctly in helping people get into homes.
That's awesome. So it sounds like part of it was a certain lifestyle that you saw that your sisters had working in real estate, kind of the flexibility of freedom with their schedule, but also, obviously monetary too. You got to be able to make money to support your family. Does that sound like what it is?
Yeah, exactly. Because I like to say I've always been a hard worker. And, working a 9-to-5, sometimes they don't value you. And then you feel like you're not doing enough, although you are, but you're just not seeing that value from your higher ups, you can say.
For sure.
And so I always tried many different things, and real estate just sticked out, and it's been going good.
I love that. And that's part of the reason, commission jobs can be scary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you don't perform, you don't make any money. But commission jobs can also be awesome because you're rewarded for your hard work. Like you said, sometimes in a 9-to-5, you feel like you're putting in all these hours and all this hard work, but you're getting paid the same amount of money every single time, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, exactly. And I've always been a big risk taker. So I've always been like, you take the risk and you either get the reward or you learn how to get there. It's a failure, but it's more of like a learning step. I always see it as a learning step. If you're not going forward, you're going backward, but you're learning, you're going a different path that next time. So I've always been, a big risk taker. And, there was a time where I was trying to do many things. I was trying to get into e-commerce, trying to do different jobs, and it was just not going well for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I got to try different things. I either keep trying that same thing a couple times, and if it doesn't work out, I try something else. And so that's what I did. And there was times where I was making no money. I was stressing out, not sleeping well. I was studying a lot. And then, funny to say, when I was working excavation before I got into real estate. While I was working excavation during my lunch breaks, when, normal breaks, I would just get on. I took real estate school through RE Academics. So then I would go to my course, and I would, try and study the most I can. So then when I get home, I also study, but it's less studying than, before. So I was trying to get ahead.
It's like having another job at the
exactly,
same time.
It was like that for 7 months. It took me 7 months to get my real estate license. And then from there, it was just, taking the test and...
Yeah. Did you jump right in as soon as you got your license?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, basically, I jumped right in. My dad, there was a time where we were driving back home from work, and then he was like, during that time, we were having problems with the boss just because, just those problems that you get with your bosses. And he was like, you're born in the U.S., you have to take the risk, you have to do it now. He was like, you're almost done with it. Once you do it, just get into it. Just because he knew I was working hard for it, and he didn't want me to think about it too much.
Right.
And so... yeah, I took the leap and I got straight into it, and it's a commission job, no hourly pay.
Right.
And,
right.
Yeah.
That's so important, I think, to realize when you're young, you can afford to take a risk, right?
Yeah.
I love that advice from your dad. It's actually the same advice my dad's given me in my life is hey, when you're young, you can take a risk, because if you fail, you have time to fix that failure, and you have time to learn from it too.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so I love that advice from your dad, because that's what has fueled me in times of like uncertainty when I don't know where I want to go in my life. It's like, well, I'm pretty young still. I can take the risk, and if things don't work out, I go on to the next thing, and hopefully that'll work out.
Yeah, no, definitely. That was always in the back of my head. I was like, I'm young, I can take the risk right now. I don't have kids to take care of. I don't have anyone else to take care of but myself.
Right.
Especially because I was still, living with my family, no rent, stuff like that. So I was like, I got to do it. If I go broke, I'm still living with my parents. I'm still young.
Right.
And that's something else that fueled me to get there. There was a lot of people that told me, are you sure you want to do that? You're not going into college? Because I didn't go to college. Right after high school, I graduated high school 1 year early. Right after high school, I went into MTech for welding.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Nice.
And then I decided it wasn't for me, just because, with welding, my eyes are already sensitive in the sun. And then with welding, I just felt I was going to go blind.
Yeah.
And then just a lot of smoke in the nose and stuff like that. And then I graduated from welding, and I didn't even go into a welding job. I was like, okay, this isn't for me.
You realized right away, you're like, this isn't for me.
Something else that's also funny is that if you graduate early, they charge you.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I had scholarships, and I wasn't gonna pay anything. I was actually gonna get money back.
Right.
And then I graduated like maybe 5 months early, then 5 or 4 months early than what I should have, and they charged me the rest of the money that I needed to pay.
Yeah, that's the worst.
It was
and you didn't even go into it.
Exactly. No,
dang.
like I was still working a job. I had to pay for that, and then I was, gonna leave the job soon because I was doing my real estate course. And at that time I was, just low on funds.
Yeah.
But I still had it in the back of my head that if I wanted to, to make it, I had to take the risk at that time.
Take the risk. I love that. So tell me a little bit about, because all of us, obviously we need to make money.
Yeah.
You need money to survive.
Exactly.
But that's not the only thing that motivates us, right? What is it that gets you up in the morning? Because a commission job is also sometimes hard to be motivated, right? Because you don't have a boss over your shoulder saying, hey, let's get to work, let's do this. So what is it that motivates you to go to work other than making money, which is like an obvious reason, right? What is it that motivates you?
Yeah, so one of my biggest motivations is just giving my family a better life, because from when I was younger, I saw how much they struggled. There was a time, and I always remember this, we went to the mall on a Sunday evening, after church. And, those candy machines in the mall.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's just like a quarter or two. And at that time, my dad didn't have debit cards, credit cards. He just carried cash all the time.
Right.
And so I was like, hey, Dad, I want a gumball from the candy machine. And then he was like, with his face, he was super sad. He was like, I have no money. Like, I have no money at this time. I haven't gotten paid. And then, I was younger, so I was like, begging him. And then he pulled out his wallet, and he opened it, and there was no money, not even $1 in there.
Wow.
And it sticks out to me because he didn't carry credit cards or debit cards, so it wasn't like he wasn't lying to me. He literally had no cash in the wallet.
Right.
And they struggled so much from living in a trailer home, a mobile home, with a 1 bed, 1 bath. And we slept in there, all 4 of us, me, my dad, my mom, and my brother. And then from there, my dad's a handyman, so he made a bigger room from hand. He did it himself. But that's always in the back of my head, that I have to make it for them and have a better life so I can take care of them, and then they don't have to work their hard jobs that they do right now.
That is super admirable. Here at Elevate, one of our core values is to elevate lives. Exactly. And like right there, you just basically outlined an amazing way to elevate lives. And it's part of the reason we wanted to have you in, because we know that you're doing a great job out there elevating lives to your clients, but also your families, right? Because that's what's helping you get up in the morning to create a better life for your family. And I admire that a ton.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I love your core values about elevating life. Another reason I chose to do business with you guys, and I keep continuing to do business with you guys, is just the value that you bring to the clients in offering more services than other home warranties do, and just caring and being there throughout the whole process. Like back then when I was working with a different agent at Elevate Home Warranty, we were at the closing table and the client had some questions, and the title person at that time, they called Elevate Home Warranty, the agent, and he responded. It was really early in the morning, and that just sticks out that you guys are always on the phone picking up too.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. I mean, that it really is something that I've been at Elevate for about 2 months now, so I'm pretty fresh here. And one thing that I've realized is that everyone here is just working as a team to elevate lives, right? Yeah. And that is where our name comes from. That's where our motivation comes from, in addition to, the need to make money.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I love stories like that. That's so great.
No, of course.
So tell me a little bit about what makes you different than 20,000 other agents, right? Because, I mean, who knows how many agents are in Utah, right? Probably around 20,000-ish, right?
Exactly.
I mean, there are tens of thousands of agents in Utah. You're super personable. You're awesome at your job, obviously, but what helps you set yourself apart from the 20,000 other agents?
Okay, great. I'm glad that you asked that, because I was also asking myself that same question when I started. I was like, there's so many agents, and there's there's this much people. Why are they going to choose me out of all the other agents that already are on the billboards, are on the buses passing by and stuff like that? And I've came to the realization that I really care, and I communicate with my clients in a very well and timely manner, and not just communication, but also caring about them, caring about their personal needs, and not just caring about the commission check. Because if it was my family, I think about it as them being my family, being my parents, being my brothers, being my siblings. And I'm like, okay, what are they going to want in an agent they're going to work with if it wasn't me?
Right.
And it's like, okay, they want 3 beds, 2 baths, being the reasons that they have. Okay, if they can't afford it at this time, okay, let's make a plan, or let's talk about it. Let's see, why do you need those 3 beds? Why do you need those 2 baths? But if it's because they really need it, okay, I'm going to do a list. I'm going to send them the homes that are available. If they don't like any of the homes, then we can talk about it. We can see, okay, your price range is a little bit over budget with how home prices are right now. Is it possible that you don't need that many rooms if it's just a want? But if it's a need, okay, we try and find those homes for you. And it's not, oh, I want 3 beds, 2 baths, I send you 1 bed, 1 bath, just because there's a 3% BAC on there.
Right.
No, there's a lot of agents that I feel like they care about the BAC if it's 1%, 2%. Yes, at the end of the day, your work does matter and you need to get paid. But at the end of the day, you're helping them. And if it's something you need to do, you need to do it. Because
it's a balance between getting what you're, being paid what you're worth, but then helping the client, have a good experience, right?
Exactly.
And I love that, sometimes what you want might not be what the client needs, right? And that is a great way to set yourself apart from someone else, is saying, hey, the client needs a friend. The client needs not just a friend, but a guide through the process.
Exactly.
Because a real estate transaction is a lot more complicated than people realize, right? I mean, a lot of people, they say, oh, we're just this is the house I want, write a check or whatever it is, and it's done. But it's a lot more complicated than people realize. And there's a need for agents.
Yeah.
But there's not just need for agents, there's need for good agents.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
valuable. And not every agent is equal.
Exactly. No, I feel like a lot of people think that it's easy having, this job because you're your own boss.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's harder being your own boss than being under someone else. Because when I started, I was like, I wanted to quit. I wanted to go back to my other job because I was like, okay, they're telling me what to do. I don't know what to do. I asked for help. I feel like I'm being dumb, and sometimes it keeps happening, but it's a lot harder being your own boss than working for someone else, because you have to get up early in the morning. I like getting up early in the morning, hitting the gym, and that's how I start. That's how I like to start my days. Yeah. And then from there, it's
start with something productive.
Exactly. Yeah. And then from there, it's just work. Sometimes you have to go do showings. It's always a different thing. It's a different thing every day. But it's definitely harder than being on a timely schedule. that
For
they already
sure.
give you. And like I said, some people think it's easy, but try it out, see how easy it is.
Right.
And more that I'd rather not make as much money as I want, but either get good reviews from my clients, because in the long run, that's what's going to make you stick out, and that's how you're going to get more referrals in the future.
Yeah.
Because if you care about the money in the long run, maybe 2, 3, 5 years, you're just going to be known for caring about the money, not
Right.
about caring for the person.
Right.
And one more thing, another thing that I like doing for my clients is also giving them good closing gifts. I feel like there's a lot of agents out there that just give Kneaders baskets.
Right.
They don't even care about giving thinking it's the thought that counts with the closing gift. It's like, okay, my client likes this stuff, or just give them a TV. They need a TV. They need
Like a personalized, something that
Exactly.
they need, not just like a
Exactly.
generalized gift. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
or
love
like
that.
putting a budget to the price. Like, yeah, you need to put a budget, but it's a big purchase for them. It's something that matters to them. It's maybe one of their biggest purchases in their life.
For
Because,
sure.
a home isn't cheap, as
No.
we know. So they need something nice to go along with it.
Well, and it's a place where they're going to spend most of their time, right? And it's a
Exactly.
sanctuary. I rented for a lot of years, and my wife and I bought a house just last year, and it's a totally different experience owning a home, right? It feels like your own space, and it's an important purchase, and it's an important thing in life, and it's a sense of accomplishment too for people, right? To get into a home.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a big deal. It's not a small deal, and I love that you have this attitude of, okay, we're going to help you accomplish your dreams, because that's what it is. Owning a home is a dream that a lot of us have, and that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, home prices are right now like averagely $350. I mean, that's a supercar. That's supercar money, right? There.
Right.
I own a Lamborghini. You can say, right?
That's right.
It's a big accomplishment.
Yeah, for sure, huge accomplishment. So let me ask you this: what advice would you give someone who came to you and said, "Josue, I want to get my real estate license. I'm taking the classes right now. What is the best thing I can do to set myself up for success?"
Okay, great question. I hadn't thought about that question, but I have had some people come up to me and ask me, what do I do? One thing that I did when I started out was watching YouTube videos, see the day-to-day life of a real estate agent, see many videos about that, then see is a question more about how to set themselves up to be a realtor, or how to take the exam?
More so, like once they become a realtor,
Okay.
what is going to help them be successful?
Okay.
What kind of advice would you give them?
I'd say the best advice is making connections before you become a realtor. Go to events. There's free events. I feel like most of the events are free here in Utah.
Yeah.
I went to a Pace Morby event where I met a lot of good connections, good networking. And that one was free. You just need to be following them, and then they post it on that same day. Just follow a lot of people on Instagram, and more importantly, like local people here in Utah. And just ask around and just attend those events. You meet connections that you're gonna need in the long run.
Yeah.
You're gonna need when you become a realtor, and then just make those connections, and then that grows your list of networking friends.
I love that advice. I mean, I think no matter what industry you're in, making connections is like one of the most valuable things you can do, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because there's always gonna be someone that knows more. There's always gonna be someone that can help you out of a situation too, right? We're all gonna run into problems in every transaction and every project that we work on, and there's gonna be someone out there that's gonna know how to help us through that situation. And making connections in any industry is important, but I feel like in real estate especially, it's like one of the most important things you can do is make connections, right?
Yeah, and it'll save you money also, because, for example, on a home that I was closing in Tooele, it needed a new roof, and I was getting bids from these bigger companies that you just search up on Google. And at the end of the day, I had a connection, and I called them up, and they charged me $3,000 less than what the competition was charging the client. So they saved money at that time, and then they ask for more work, and you already know that they're going to be there for you, and they're going to charge the client less.
For sure.
And that's just one of the connections that I had. Talking about the Pace Morby event, I met an investor. He's 20 years old. He's done over 30 transactions. His name's Diego, and I met him at that event, and we did our first deal maybe 4 weeks ago, and that was just following each other on social media. and then having that connection, and then, you know, hopefully we're going to keep doing more deals, but that's just from getting that connection at that event.
For sure.
Just attending it.
I love
and
that.
Maybe you're scared to go alone, because I was scared. I won't lie. I was scared to go alone to the events.
For sure.
Like talking to
it's
people.
It's intimidating,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. You're like, what if I sound dumb? But no, just go. You have to do it one way or another, right?
Right.
If you want to be successful, and, you know, just go, and then you'll make those connections.
Growth comes from being a little bit uncomfortable,
exactly.
right?
Yeah. There's that saying, what is it? Basically just getting out of your comfort zone. Being uncomfortable is what's going to make you comfortable in the long run with that.
I love that.
And some
That's
people,
fantastic.
Yeah, some people get super successful at being uncomfortable.
I love that. That's interesting. Yeah. They become successful at being uncomfortable. Yeah. That's a great little snippet right there.
Exactly.
You're awesome, man. Appreciate you coming.
Of course.
This has been good for me. So I've learned something new today. I hope you've been edified by it as well.
Definitely.
We appreciate you as a friend of Elevate, and hope we can continue to do business in the future.
Of course.
Thanks so much.
That's the goal right there.
Yeah, you're awesome. Thanks.